Hello and welcome to the Turf and Touchdowns podcast, episode 11. We're focusing on horse racing this time around. We are doing an NFL podcast that'll be dropping around about the same sort of times. If you do like your NFL action, go take a look. We're putting up our best bets for the NFL season ahead. We're still a fair way out, but in the more immediate future, we have got the Stephen Foster Stakes to be looking at. Myself, Luke Elder, and Tom Collins taking a look at the Stephen Foster, where it's good to have, we'll say, proper action back. Yeah. The Ohio Derby was fine last week, but it's good to have sort of top-class Churchill stuff back.
Yeah, it's nice to see Grade 1 racing. We're going to really get into the depths of proper US racing over the next few weeks. Saratoga coming up, and it's basically Grade 1 action every week that we'll be covering, and obviously back to Grade 1 action at Churchill now. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this summer. And it's not just the summer in the US, obviously. It's the summer in the UK. It is sweltering here. And if you are wondering about our hats, yeah, we haven't been to the barbers. That's probably why.
It's so hot. It's so hot. Like, the thing that the rest of the world doesn't understand, if you're watching this from like America and you're like in Texas or like Arizona, where like it's just like in Fahrenheit, it's like 100 degrees plus. Like, that's cool and everything. But in England, it can get to like 85 Fahrenheit, which, like, say 30 degrees Celsius, and it just sucks. Like, you walk outside and you're instantly like, I can't breathe. It's just awful.
Yeah, people don't seem to understand, do they? Like, it's I can't explain it other than sweltering. It feels like you can't breathe, and it's so sticky and horrible. So yeah, it might not be the soaring temperatures that Americans and people in the Middle East see, but I'll tell you what, I was in Saudi Arabia 7 times last year. 7 times. It was 40 degrees on the first few. And I tell you, it is much more insufferable being in this kind of 25, 30 degree heat in the UK than over there.
It just sucks. It just sucks. Every single year we're like, we just want summer to come around. We just want summer to come around. And then summer comes around, you're like, I don't know if I can handle going on holiday. I don't think well, we're going to Rhodes, one of the Greek islands, in August. And we're just like, I don't think we can manage 35 degrees. But it's so different anywhere else. Like, we're the only country that has rubbish winters, and then summer comes around and we get punished even further. It sucks. But enough of the English whinging. Last week we had the Ohio Derby, where it didn't exactly go to plan. We were both relatively keen on catching Freedom, and he just threw an absolute stinker.
Yeah, he really ran badly. Obviously, the hard season's taken its toll on him. He was way below his best in the Ohio Derby, and he never really looked like he was going to win, did he? He kind of made some inroads on the home turn, and Louis Sires was trying to keep his rival Gould's Gold on the inside. It looked like he was trying to sweep around the outside of Batten Down. When push came to shove, there was just nothing there, and he finished off the race tamely. I think Brad will put him to one side now, keep him for some of the later season targets. Batten Down was very good, though, going straight out to the front and never really seeing another rival.
Yeah, hard to sort of gauge what Batten Down is capable of, but that he's taken a big step forward. Travers could possibly be on the agenda, but I guess for any 3-year-old that does anything remotely good at this time of year, you're going to be saying, well, yeah, possibly he could go towards that sort of race, because that's the standout for midsummer 3-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure Bill Mott will have a plan. This horse seems to be one of the late developing types, and we're going to get that throughout the course of the year. Horses that didn't necessarily run in any of the Kentucky Derby trials or the Kentucky Derby itself, that really win some of these prep races and then become one of the top tier 3-year-olds that we didn't really think was going to be. Now, I'm not saying Batten Down is that just now, but at least he's on an upward trajectory, and that effort was pretty strong. He seems to have very high cruising speed, which is his biggest asset.
Can you name any other late developing Jodmont 3-year-olds?
I mean, Arrogant.
There we go. I'm not saying he's going to be that good, but like, he was quite good. That's like the one, basically. But that was a short recap of the Ohio Derby. The only good thing is that Megatu didn't run, because 4 of them came out very early on, which was odd, but it's to do with the weather. So we'll wait for him in the future. But the Grade 1 Stephen Foster is our preview of this week. Very interesting contest, this. I know we're talking about Grade 1 horses. We've got horses that maybe aren't 100% proven as Grade 1 horses in here. The likes of First Mission is going to be very prominent towards the head of the market. We've got the likes of Disarm, who managed to win last time around. We know he's better than that, and he looked very good at times last year. We've got the proven Grade 1 horse in Skippy Longstocking as well, who I think is probably the majority of American racing fans, one of their favourites, including myself. But from a pace standpoint, it's going to be very important for First Mission because he's a strong staying individual. Kings Barnes, he's likely going to be on the front end because he's on the front end in every single race he runs.
Yeah, it should be those two for sure. First Mission needs to be up with the pace, as you've already said. He's very much a grinder rather than a quickener. So with a horse like him with lots of class, you want to get them into the best possible position to win. And that is, whether it be first, second, third, is a prominent role. Kings Barnes, as you say, has loads of early speed. This horse actually tried to lead the Kentucky Derby last year at ridiculous fractions. So yeah, he'll be up there. I think Skippy Longstocking as well will be ridden aggressively. Drawn out wide in gate 9. All his best efforts seem to be when he's near the front as well. So those three should go up top. I'm not anticipating a breakneck gallop. I don't know if you are. Maybe 47 and 2/5, 48 seconds through the half, and that'd be fair for every horse in the race.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. We'll start with First Mission. He's the possible best horse in the race, but I say possible because he's been winning good races. He won the Grade 2 Alishiba last time around. He got a Bayer speed figure of 106, which is a lifetime best. I thought it was quite inflated. There was a Japanese horse in the front end, Tio Sandani, who just went very, very hard. And as we were watching the race, you're thinking, this horse cannot keep this gallop up. And to an extent, he did. First Mission only really got on top around a furlong left to go. He quickened away very impressively. I just feel that he's been beating up sort of pretty moderate Grade 2, Grade 3 individuals, and now he's going to take a massive step to Grade 1 company, and I don't think he's going to be worth the price that we're expecting. Sort of, I think both of us sort of 6-4, maybe even a little bit shorter than that. He's got a lovely profile, but not for me.
Yeah, I see it in exactly the same way. This is a horse I've got a little bit of loyalty towards because I seem to be with him when he wins and not with him when he loses, which is always the best angle. Doesn't work with every horse, to tell you that. But he's very game on the front. He'll run his race. That's one thing that punters will definitely get. And if you are taking a short price or likely short price about him, there are no morning line odds or actual prices with UK firms at the time of filming, then at least you know with First Mission you should get a run for your money. As you say, though, he's stepping up to Grade 1 company. He's been beaten before at lower grades. In the Grade 2 Clark in November, for example, he was beaten by Trademark. I don't know whether he's a proper Grade 1 horse. Now, this isn't the best Grade 1 you're going to get all season, but at the same time, he's meeting much better opposition here. So you're going to be taking a short price about a horse that actually needs to improve, and that's not the way I like to bet.
Yeah, he's an interesting one, his First Mission. He's a sort of horse that I'd love to see him over a mile and a half on dirt, because I think he'd be an absolute monster in that, but we don't really want that to happen. Disarm is a fascinating runner. He was very consistent last year, obviously missed a little bit of time after running in the Belmont behind Arcangelo. He came back with an underwhelming display, I think is the best way of putting it. He ran to a speed figure of 85. He won. Good job. You got the job done. He needs to come on massively for it, but we know that he's so much better than last time over. It's just a case of him actually doing it.
Yeah, I really like this horse. And last year I put him in my tracker midway through the season to bet him in a winnable race. That didn't happen because Steve Asmussen put him in all of the best Grade 1 events, basically. And then he came back, as you say, off the layoff in an allowance event. He was a short price. So I'm yet to actually cash in or have a chance to cash in on the fact that I think he's going to be a good bet in a future event. This looks like the perfect spot for me. Look, if you go all the way back in his career, he's a son of Gun Runner. He's got the perfect pedigree. He won a Saratoga Maiden at 2, beating Croupi and Arthur's Ride. Now, they're not proper Grade 1 horses, but Croupi, we've seen recently, has thrived at lower graded stakes level, and Arthur's Ride looked really good at Saratoga a couple of weeks ago, so that form's strong. Last year, he finished second in the Louisiana Derby, third in the Lexington, fourth in the Kentucky Derby and Jim Dandy, second in the Travers, won the Matt Win. Like, this horse is super consistent at the top level. He's way more proven than First Mission is. Now, he might not have as much upside, and he did suffer an injury last year. And as you say, his comeback run on speed figures and visuals wasn't overly impressive. So he does have to prove that he still retains all of that ability. But I feel like he's going to be a reasonable price in here. 7-2, 4-1, maybe a little bit bigger. If he is, he's a play for me.
Yeah, this market is going to be fascinating. I mean, we're recording this without any morning lines. We're sort of guessing effectively from a we'd like to say educator standpoint, but that's open to a little bit of mocking. But Disarm, he might be second or third in the market. He ought to be anyway. We'll see how that goes. He has been beaten by First Mission in the past, but he's gonna be better than last time around. We mentioned Kings Barnes very briefly. I just don't think he's up to this sort of level. I think he's the flashiest horse in the race, without doubt. I've always just had this feeling that I'd love to see him sprinting. I know they tried 7 furlongs 3 starts ago. He's just that sort of horse. I don't think he's good enough over this trip.
You're stealing my notes today, literally on every horse so far. You're saying exactly what I want to say. I promise we don't share notes prior to this, apart from who we're going to put up. Yeah, I agree with you. He's got an identical record to First Mission: 5 wins, 2 seconds from 8 races. He won his first 2 efforts that so far this season in emphatic fashion at Gulfstream and Keeneland. Last time I bet him, he was a short price. I tipped him on Sky Sports Racing, and he lost. He found a way to lose a race that he shouldn't have lost. He was in the perfect position throughout, yet he got run down by Pyrenees. I want to see him over 7 furlongs again. And until we see that, until it drops down to an intermediate trip, I want no part of him.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe I could give him a pass if he went in something like the British Cup Dirt Mile or something like that further down the line at Del Mar. But for now, no. Let's talk about Skippy. I love this horse. It started off because he's got a fantastic name, Skippy Longstocking. But I feel like this is the sort of horse that everyone's going to be trying to avoid because we kind of know what Skippy Longstocking is. He is a genuine Grade 1 horse. With the likes of First Mission, you know the saying of you turn down something that's really good because there's something that's got a bit of potential. So you've got, do you want a boat? And then someone tries to give you something else, like, well, this mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. That's Skippy Longstocking against First Mission in this. First Mission could be the boat. We know that Skippy Longstocking is the classy individual in this race. His effort last time around over Oaklawn does inflate speed figures a little bit, and it has been this season. So the 107, take with a little pinch of salt. But we know that he's up to running those sorts of figures. He's gone above 100 5 times in his career. Now, last year it became a little bit of a disaster. He ran in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile back in November. He came back to Gulfstream Park, and things did not go well at all in the Pegasus. He was walked off that day. He then went to Tampa, and things went absolutely fine. He ran to a low speed figure. But the main thing I love about Skippy Longstocking, his works recently have been absolutely fantastic. He worked back on the 15th of June, and he worked 4 furlongs in 46 and 4/5. I mean, Grade 1 horses are going to be able to do that, but he was first to 57 on the day. I kind of feel like Connections went, whoa, not too soon, and then they took back and they just gave him a far more relaxed piece of work. I feel like this horse is in a really good place at the moment. He's had a nice break between his last 2 runs, and this is the ideal sort of Grade 1 for him. So for me, I'm pretty happy taking the boat, Tom.
Yeah, he's an interesting contender, isn't he? From the outside gate, which I think is probably a positive for him, given his forward-going tactic and how he likes to race. Now, my question to you is, we know he's got the ability. We know that he's a little bit up and down in his career, which is absolutely fine. That Gulfstream race you talked about, the Pegasus World Cup, quite a few horses didn't perform, so you can definitely put a line straight through that. My question is about the jockey. Now, Tyler Gaffalione rode him a lot throughout his career. I know Jose Ortiz got on last time when he won the Oaklawn Handicap, and he did it very nicely, but he was always on the front. Jose from a wide gate with other speeds in here, what do you reckon he's going to do? This is a guy that's not super aggressive, and I was saying this on Sky Sports Racing on Saturday. Jose's a really good jockey, don't get me wrong. He's got a fantastic strike rate. I like him best on turf closers. This is a dirt prominent horse. I just don't know about that.
I think he's a really easy ride. If he's going to balls it up, it'll be sensational. But
where do you want him in the first 2 furlongs? Do you want him on the front?
I don't want him on the front because I think Kings Barnes might just go a little bit too hard and do it too much. I want him just behind First Mission. Wherever First Mission is, I want him 3 parts of a length away from him, probably towards the outside, because I think turning for home, he would just quicken past him and go on nicely. I don't want him to get into a real I'm going to beat you up battle with First Mission, because quite frankly, he's not going to win that. And I don't think Disarm would win that either. First Mission would just pull away from them. But I think Skippy Longstocking can outclass, I think he can outclass the pair of them in the whole field.
The reason I'm against him, I don't disagree about the class angle. There's no doubt there. Albeit when he ran at Tampa 2 back, I was a bit concerned why they were going to that spot, coming off the back of a poor run at Gulfstream. But last time up, he seemed as good as ever. So I think we can quash beliefs that he may not have all the talent. I think he's best on the front. I think we'll see the A plus Skippy Longstocking if he gets to the lead, or at least shares the lead with Kings Barnes. I think Jose Ortiz is going to sit third or fourth here. And if he's behind First Mission, I don't think this horse has the capabilities of running down First Mission. That's my one query. If he's ahead, he could definitely hold him off. But I'm just interested to see what Jose does in this race, because it's a tricky spot with a jockey who's not the most aggressive in the early stages.
Either way, from a selection standpoint, you're avoiding both of them. We kind of giving clues as to who we like. I mean, I'm very keen. Well, not very keen, but I'm clearly with Skippy Longstocking. You're going elsewhere.
I am, yeah. Look, I think First Mission is definitely the horse to beat. But if he's 6-4, 5-4, I want no part of him as a betting prospect. Again, if I'm using him in exactas or for UK purposes, forecast, tricast, then absolutely, he should be in the top 2 or 3. But I think the price on Disarm is going to be the way to go here. Look, this horse is super consistent. He came back off a long layoff with an okay run in Allowance Company. He needs to take a step forward, but that should be factored into his price. And I love his way of racing. He's a closer, but he also has tactical speed. So he should sit mid-division. He can make one big run. And I think he's got way more pace than First Mission. So he could sweep on by. I wouldn't want him in a duel, but at the same time, he's a very gutsy individual. So I'll take Disarm. I think this is the time to bet him. If he disappoints here, then I probably won't have much interest moving forward. But he's still open to plenty of improvement, and a horse I really like.
I like that we're both taking on First Mission. I thought one of us, would come into this race and be with First Mission. But look, I'm with Skippy Longstocking. I think he's the class horse in this contest. He ran very well at Oaklawn last time around. His works have been brilliant coming into this spot. I'm a big fan of that. He's clearly in a good place now, where he had a few issues earlier on in the season. I'm sort of against you with how I wouldn't mind him being ridden. If he sits 3 parts of a length off of First Mission, I think he could just go and claim him late on in the piece. So I'm not overly bothered about Jose Ortiz being really attacking in the early part of things. But Disarm for Tom, Skippy Longstocking for myself. I'm glad that we're disagreeing this week.
Yeah, it didn't work out last week, did it?
No. No, awful. So we're going to cover more of the field this week, and I'm looking forward to sitting here this time next week, Tom, and saying how good First Mission was.
Yeah, probably. That's highly likely what's going to happen. But at least we're going for a little bit of value. We're finding a price, and if you do like First Mission, then as we say, you can do exactas, forecasts, whatever you want to call it, with our selection and First Mission. Hopefully, we get a winner this week. Next week, probably the Belmont Derby. I imagine we're going to cover, with maybe a little side bit on the Belmont Oaks, and then we move into Saratoga. So, yeah, this is a good a good time to start a streak.
Yes, it's also a good time to be an American racing fan, because there's lots coming at you in the next few weeks / month, 2 months, and not too far away. I know we're in the middle of summer, but we will be building towards a Breeders' Cup. We will have plenty of anti-post Breeders' Cup looks, and we'll be doing that from a fair way out. So make sure you subscribe to the Turf and Touchdowns YouTube channel, Spotify channel, wherever you do listen to us. Thank you very much for doing so, and make sure you subscribe so you can do it a little bit more. We post on our social media channels as well throughout the course of the week. We are also on social media at Turf Touchdowns on Twitter /X, and we're at Turf and Touchdowns everywhere else. Tom, good job.
Yeah, good job to you too. Hopefully we're celebrating a winner. I think we've covered the race in a little bit more detail than maybe we covered the Ohio Derby last week, but that wasn't much of an event, to be honest. It was the best of a bad bunch, whereas this week we've got a proper decent race. So fingers crossed.
We do. Very best of luck to you guys, whoever you are siding with in the Grade 1. Stephen Foster will be back next week until we next get the privilege of speaking to you guys. Stay safe. Look after one another. Goodbye.